Hello everyone, Matt here, and welcome to our Game of the Year video, 2023. This year was a good year for gaming for us. We covered a variety of games, 4 games launched this year, 3 from previous years, and 1 game was released back in 1989. This year we completed One Piece Odyssey, Earthbound Beginnings, Dragon Quest Heroes The World Tree Woe and The Blight Below, Tales of Symphonia, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Hidden Treasure of Area Zero The Teal Mask, Infinity Strash, Dragon Quest The Adventures of Dai, Little Nightmares, and Naruto Boruto Ultimate Ninja Storm Connections. So I'm briefly going to go over my favourite games played this year and what I'm looking forward to covering in 2024. One Piece Odyssey was my least favourite game this year. The turn-based battle system was a lot of fun. The game visually looked great, however, due to the story that I didn't care for. Retreading One Piece arcs over a new original story and the travelling speed being really slow combined with environments that were bland is what led the game down. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Hidden Treasure of Area Zero, the Teal Mask. Introduced a new area within the Paldea region, Kitakami. The environment was great, and the story was not too bad. Some characters I were not a fan of personality and design-wise. The additions of new Pokemon and the continued updates of the Mightiest Mark raids keeps me coming back to this game with excitement and joy. Naruto Boruto Ultimate Ninja Storm Connection should be higher on my list. Naruto is one of my favourite anime of all time. I love the Ultimate Ninja Storm series. I've played through them all to completion, and with Connections being a visually updated game with new story, more playable characters than ever before, and multiple gamers to keep you coming back, this game should have been a no-brainer and near the top of my list. Fortunately, the game is set back because the game retreads the previous games in the series. Someone who has consumed Naruto in all its forms, playing through the story was not as fun as I hoped. The difficulty of the game was non-existent. I love a challenge, I enjoy the grind. I believe I got game over and a low ranking only once or twice during the course of the whole story campaign, outside of retreading stages for 100% completion. While playing through Naruto all over again was mildly disappointing, the Boruto story was a great addition and my favourite mode of the two. This was an original story that focused on Boruto and his fellow ninja. Naruto and the adults got next to nothing, and I appreciate that. I was engrossed in the story, I loved the characters, the battles were fun, and the aspects of the story are quite sad and emotional at times too. The Boruto story shows to me that Bandai Namco could really pull off a Boruto Ultimate Storm game that could be just as fun and entertaining as his father's series before him. Infinity Strash Dragon Quest The Adventure of Dai was a game I was really hyped and excited for. I'm a huge fan of the Dragon Quest franchise, and after reading the manga up to its most recent release, I had half the game story ahead of the game's release. The gameplay was a lot of fun, but besides the Temple of Recollection, there was very little gameplay. The game involves more story and dialogue than the action game that it claims to be. The story is not a bad thing. I love the Adventure of Dai manga, and I'm currently watching the anime when I have the time. I like the majority of the characters. They all have a great personality, and I do have a few specific favourites. The game is let down by the story and how it's portrayed. The story is shown in the form of screen caps from the anime and a narration above that, with a PowerPoint presentation sort of feel. Because of this method of story narration and a small amount of CG cutscenes, the story is provided in its lowest format. The CG cutscenes that we did get were stunning and engaging, saved for the most important parts of the story. These moments blended well before and after completing a stage, and really kept the momentum of the game and story going. I could go on more about the downsides of Infinity Strash, but I loved the gameplay and the story. I'd love a sequel to adapt the remaining story of the Adventures of Dai. I just wish the story was portrayed more in CG cutscenes of screenshots and narration. Little Nightmares, a horror game I own on multiple platforms, despite knowing nothing about the story and gameplay. This game was a charm. I loved the story, the on-edge feeling it gave me, the excitement and desperation to survive and escape. Played during the Halloween period in a pitch black room and a torch below me to create that campfire environment. Little Nightmares is a game I'd recommend to anyone. I am looking forward to playing Little Nightmares 2 in 2024. We are now on to our top 3 games of the year. Equally, these games are all amazing in their own right, but for the list I've put them in order and decided on my top game of the year. Coming in third is Earthbound Beginnings. I loved Earthbound. It is easily one of my favourite RPGs, one of my favourite games that I streamed. My opinions were mixed on playing Earthbound Beginnings. The look of the game has not aged as well as Earthbound, and going from Earthbound to Beginnings was a visual downgrade. However, the story and gameplay was just as good and fun. The music, much like Earthbound, I loved, and if possible, I'd like to obtain the soundtrack. Streaming with friends and followers and discussing the love and passion the fans have for the series really added to the entertainment that I got from playing Earthbound Beginnings, and I'm really hyped and excited to stream Mother 3 in 2024. Tales of Symphonia is my real second entry into the Tales of series. I think Tales of Arise will always be my top Tales of game, but Symphonia came very, very close. The characters, the story, the gameplay, I loved it all. I was hooked and felt a deep connection to the game. This feeling just reminded me of Tales of Arise, and if Symphonia was my first entry into the Tales of series, it easily could have been my top Tales of game. So if you've been noting down the games we've played this year and the list so far, you will have worked out that my game of the year for 2023 is Dragon Quest Heroes, The World Trees Woe, and Light Below. As I mentioned with Infinity Strash, I love the Dragon Quest franchise, and when I found out that there was a Musou game, hack and slash game by Koei Tecmo, I was ecstatic. I had to get the game so eager that I purchased not only The World Trees Woe and The Light Below, but the sequel too. Both brand new and sealed with the Day 1 edition, which expired long before I even installed the game. I'm a massive fan of hack and slash games, and Koei Tecmo are the top of their game for this genre. We have streamed 5 Musou games now, including Dragon Quest, and Dragon Quest is easily at the top. Granted, I don't get to play it as much, but I love the characters in the story. The gameplay is a lot of fun. I know some of the characters from the previous Dragon Quest games, and hearing the audio and their speech for the first time is a treat. I look forward to replaying the game and going for 100% once I've played more of the Dragon Quest franchise. The only downside is that I own the game on the PlayStation. It's a bit more effort to set up for streaming, and if I owned it through Steam, I could also play it on the go on my Steam Deck. Another downside to that actually is also that the game is single player. The sequel is multiplayer, but the World Trees Woe and The Light Below is unfortunately just single player, so I can't play it with friends and followers. But nevertheless, this game is amazing from the story to the gameplay, the soundtrack and the characters, not to mention the multiple British accents always made me chuckle. Like Little Nightmares and Earthbound, I'm looking forward to streaming Dragon Quest Heroes 2 in 2024. And with that, everyone, is my 2023 Game of the Year video. Do hope you enjoyed not only this video, but the content I produced over the past year. I really do want to thank you all so much. It really does mean the world to me. I'm really looking forward to 2024. We have a lot of games to cover. We'll be continuing on with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, The Hidden Treasure of Area Zero, The Indigo Disc, Tales of Arise Beyond the Dawn, and Sword Art Online Last Recollection. On YouTube, we'll be carrying on our Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII run. And then on to some requested games from our friends and followers. We'll be tackling Mother 3, Sword Art Online Lost Song, and on YouTube, Dragon's Dogma. And finally, when released, we'll be covering some brand new games. Jujutsu Kaisen, Cursed Clash, released in February. And if also these games are released later in 2024, we'll be covering these games as well. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero and Sandland, both stories from Akira Toriyama. So, with that being said, this is our last video for 2023. I want to thank you all so very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. For 2024, and hopefully seeing you there. Let me know what your game of the year is. Doesn't have to be any games that we've covered. It can be just a general game that you've really enjoyed that you played in 2023. Please do let me know. I'm curious as to what your game was. But until next time, until 2024, thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.